Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Hopper's Hot Rods. Today we've got a couple of little details to take care of on the workhorse vehicle. Number one, there's a nail in one of the rear tires. We need to knock that little problem out. B, the window crank on the driver's side, it kind of doesn't want to. Oh, we need to put a new engine in it. And the plastic thing on the mirror, what's that? Yeah, engine. Whole new engine. It's just, while we're fixing the tire and the mirror, we'll just put in the new engine too. That should be fine, right? Nope, it's going to be a mess. Cue the music. So, I know what you're thinking. It seems like kind of a lot of work to take an engine out. Why are you taking the engine out? Didn't it run pretty good? Well, it did. Past tense. It's, there was a blam that went on inside, and, well, not 100% sure what happened there, but I'm not sure what happened here. That's better. Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened. I think one of the heads had become blown up. So we're going to find out. I'm pretty sure it's something detrimental enough that will require a full engine removal. So you may think it's kind of a lot of work to take an engine out. And you'd be right, it's a little bit of work. It's an afternoon of stuff. So let's just try to do one thing and take the wheels and tires off, set aside the one with the nail in it. That'll make it easier for us to walk around underneath. We'll do that, then we'll look at what's the next thing. Maybe we'll do two things today. No. One of the ideas I had when I put this exhaust system on was that I would probably have to take it back off because, well, I put it together. So I thought to make this one section and then from here back the other section, and I would use an inexpensive band clamp, and it's horrible. Look at the leak. Look at the amount of leaking from both. So since we're taking this apart, we will use what they call a V-band clamp. It'll require a bit of welding instead of just this slip clamp, but this is unacceptable even for me. So we'll address that while we're taking this apart. This would get you down the road, but and they may make better versions of this, but whichever one I got, this won't do. This, all right. The wheels and tires are off. I don't see why we shouldn't just go ahead while we're under here and remove this front portion of the exhaust. There's 2, 4, 6 bolts total, and then the O2 sensor unplugs. So that can't take terribly long, could it? And it may be time. Oh, and then we'll also just take the 4 bolt out of the drive shaft and pull that out. And it may be time to consider a new muffler. Just maybe. It may or may not be getting a little age-related decrepitude. Maybe. We'll just have to, maybe. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Well, here's the exhaust. I've got a weld here that's leaking, a weld here that's leaking, a weld here that's leaking. You know what? I'm not going to go into all of it. I give myself a B-, having never put together an exhaust system. Maybe a C+ or C-. But, you know, it held up for a little while. We're going to now consider the next steps. I'll get back with you when I have a coherent thought. How about it? That's a good plan. Well, here's a trick that pretty much everybody knows. It's not even a trick. It's probably just considered proper procedure. When you take your drive shaft loose from the rear end housing, have a piece of electrical tape or some other kind of tape handy to tape together the caps, the little caps on the U-joint, because after they've been driven on for a while, they have the ability to loosen up a little and drop all their bearings out. Why isn't there? Well, I guess there's not. For some reason, I thought there were. It doesn't matter. So you got your tape handy. You slide the drive shaft forward, like such, and grab your tape and give it a quick wrap. And give it a quick wrap. Give it a, hold on. There we are. And just give it a quick wrap around the caps, like so. Just a quick one. And then just leave yourself a piece of flag tape hanging off so you can take it off very quickly. Also, when you slide the drive shaft out of the transmission, maybe have something underneath to catch any transmission fluid that might come out when you pull the drive shaft out. Generally, it much doesn't come out, and we didn't lose a drop, but it's possible. So there's a drive shaft. On to the next, thing. Well, I just drained the oil out of the van, and it doesn't look great unless you light Nestle Quick. This is not what oil is supposed to look like. There's a kind of a high water content, so we'll have to see what the inside of the engine looks like. Transmission is unbolted, torque converter unbolted, shift linkage, electrical plugs. What else? Drive shaft, this cross member moved out of the way, so we should be able to just sort of wiggle it loose and lower it down on the transmission jack. Let's see what happens here. And we are free from the engine. Make sure it's got a bit of balance to it. Now I should be able to take this and make sure we're clear of the flywheel. Oh yeah, plenty of clearance there. Yeah, I think we got the, I think we're over the hump on this part. All right, piece of cake. They make such an ordeal out of this on the hot rod shows, but these things practically uninstall themselves. Check 1 2, breaker 1 9. As you can see, we've got the van elevated to a height suitable for wandering around underneath. Here's the remaining list of items before we can remove the engine. We got one heater hose that I routed so neatly that I can no longer get to it. The power steering hoses, air conditioning hoses, all the electrical plugs are already unplugged near as I can tell. Here's where it gets kind of cool. You take the brake calipers loose and just hang them from the bumper supports. There's a little brake line union back here. I'll show you that you disconnect, and then you knock loose the outer tie rods, and the whole cross member and engine will just set down on the the rolling cart here or something, and then we lift there's like 6 bolts that hold it in, and then engine just flops right out of the bottom. Easy as pie, easy as can be. Can't see nothing. These video lights, nice and bright. I do extol the virtues of the pick set, and one of the cool things is to get pins out of these nuts. You can use the pick to grab them also. Let me see what size. That's not it. There we are. Now what we need to do to drop this cross member is, well, hold on. We'll remove the shocks because the shock absorbers, the dampeners, they bolt from the unibody to the suspension, so they have to be separated at least on one end. And I think I may have discovered why this thing had a bit of a wonky ride. They're supposed to, you know, rebound. This one just bounds, no rebound. So, and I'm not even kidding. That's, you know, it's just compressed and it just laid there, poor thing. So we will invest in some new absorption of shock. Then we'll take this nut about halfway off and separate the tie rod end. And they call these tie rods because they are rods that tie the steering together. Inner and outer tie rods. That's what, if you ever hear that term, now you know what it is. So first, where did I put the sock? I just had, there it is. Step one is, let's see, lefty loosey. Yeah. It's child's play. If your child is strong and likes to smack stuff with a hammer, you know who you are. Let me grab this hammer. These are called pickle forks. Not sure why. Not a big fan of pickles, to be honest. And to figure out which one is for tie rods, it's the one, it's a semitone higher. So that's the one. It requires a very special hammer. Nope, anything will do. You can hit it with a giant rock if you felt like it. And what you really risk in doing it is damaging the rubber boot that holds the grease in, but they're not expensive. So if you mangle it, you can replace it. It's not the end of the world. Don't be scared to try this at home. Oh, my liver. You know what we need? Bigger hammer. There we go. Loose the nut. And there we go. There's one side. One down, one to go. I'll time lapse the other one. Simple. This tie rod, that tie rod, both disconnected. The wheel hubs and rotors may now move independently of each other. And I went ahead and took the screws that hold the calipers to the caliper brackets on the rotors. So now we just take this, take 22. We'll hang the brake rotors from here so that we can do the next thing we're supposed to do. Yeah, that's more like it. Here's our 4L65E. I think the 4L60E, the bell housing was made onto the transmission 65E. I'm not sure, but it's a green plug. I don't know if that means anything. And I just put a bungee and a block of wood to hold the torque converter in, just so it doesn't kind of come out and you got to clock it and put it back in, because we are reusing the transmission, even though somebody stupid pulled this thing with a tow dolly and didn't take the drive shaft out. I don't know what moron. Oh, we're going to roll the dice, see how far it goes. I'm sure we've shortened the life of the transmission, but we'll see what happens. It wasn't very far, 250 miles or so. So yeah, it's cool being all tough and macho and just grabbing one of these transmissions and lifting it up. But I gotta say, it's luxurious to have a, no wait, there's tabs on these things. Oh, nope, there's tabs on, yeah, there it is. Tabs on the 700R4, and there's tabs on this one too. It's luxurious to have a hoist. I went to Harbor Freight and just bolted a winch, an AC powered winch. It was like 60 something dollars, holds 800 pounds, and I use it all the time. Make sure it's all straight. We'll unratchet strap the transmission from the thing here, like this. Then I grabbed a couple of extension cords, because I think there are 5, there's more than 3, and an extension cord has 3. So I just cut 2 cheap extension cords and extended the winch operator, and off she goes. Wow. Now we use the special transmission stand. It's complimentary. And it's better than blowing out my spine moving the thing around, you know. Take 22. I'm getting ready to disconnect the 2 brake line fittings here for dropping the cross member. And I notice this is not good. It's going to be a hoove of us to figure out why there's fluid there. This thing is sitting on the safety stops, so it must be purging fluid when it's going up. And I replaced the lines not long ago, so hopefully it's just a fitting or something's a little loose, but I'm gonna have to investigate that. We really need the lift to be working to make this operation successful. Well, I just showed you the whole thing, but I forgot to have the microphone on. Take 22. If you happen to have an A-Team van and you're interested in dropping the subframe, I'm going to show you where the bolts live on the inside of the frame rail. I've already started taking, we'll go around this way. 1, 2 right there above these those 2. There's 2 on the inside right there. 1 and 2. You can see those 2 big bolt heads. And then from underneath, you just get a long extension, and I can't see nothing. There are, from underneath, see those 3 holes? Well, there are 3 corresponding bolt heads. 1, 2, 3 right there. You can get to them through the holes. So 5 bolts on each side, and the whole front suspension, cross member and engine drop down just like you want them to. Here's our plan. Number one, don't make fun of me because I'm numerically illegitimate. I meant to say it was 7 bolts on either side, not 5 on each side. If I in fact said that, I'm also memory impaired. Here's the plan. I'm going to lower the van down onto the table to just squish it a bit. We'll pull the remaining 6 bolts out, 3 on each side. If it starts to crush the table because of the leaky lift, we'll abandon this project. We'll jack it up real quick and be safe. But if it holds pressure for long enough, we'll get those 6 bolts out, raise it back up to the first safety latch, bam, done. We got this. More or less, no problems. I hung up a brake line and it may have kinked it up a little bit, but it'll be easy to repair with everything out of the way. And I did go ahead and have to fully remove the tie rod. For some reason I thought I could just take the ends loose, but I didn't think about the harmonic balancer and the vertical clearance. No matter what, it's out. We can roll the cart out, assess everything. Let's get a closer look. Okay. Engine out, transmission out, entire suspension out. Probably didn't need to do it that way, but it's out. So we can maintenance and play with all this while it's out. It was a long day, but I think it was Eddie Albert Einstein who said the distance of time it takes to do a project is relative to the gravity of the situation that it belongs. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Next episode, we're going to take all the good parts off this, put it on that, which I'll show you later. Clean, fix, details. We'll fix all the details. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.